Hi, my name is Sakanak, and I wanted to do a review of yellopain's Thanksgiving video. I tried to actually film myself reacting to it. I don't know if that's actually what you're supposed to do because I don't watch people react to other things. But I tried to do it, and my dumbass didn't have the camera on. So I rewatched it and tried to remake the actual reactions I had. So I'm just making this video instead. I'm in back if you needed my qualifications, because apparently white men feel entitled to review this video and have negative feelings about it. You're out of it. You're not in the conversation. you're not invited to the table. But on a more serious note, chef's kiss. This is a beautiful video. And I know for me, I get extreme anxiety as a young person who has spoken out about not just white supremacy within white communities, within the government, but white supremacy within my own culture, within my own people. And I just give kudos to the artist who was able to be brave like that, because I don't know if this is everyone's experience, but what I have found is that even the most what you would think are the most brave, outspoken, out there people, they aren't necessarily being brave. They're just speaking truth. And the fact that it has to be a brave thing to be authentic sucks. That's such bullshit, but it's true. You get so much backlash. People try to dim your light, dim your views, especially as an artist. I've done a lot of art paint-wise that talks a lot about the climate change, about the climate crisis we're having, and it can look doomy and gloomy, but it's the reality. People want to ignore it. I work in human rights, in indigenous rights, around air quality, human health effects, climate change, specifically in the Arctic Slope, where we have the largest oil field in North America. So I know a lot about lateral violence, which the term means violence within your own community, so it's lateral. And I can imagine, just even looking at his other videos, I hope that the pronouns I'm using are correct. I'm actually going to pause this to make sure I'm using the correct pronouns. 1 second. I couldn't figure it out, so he is what I'm going to be using. And I just looked at their Facebook and just saw all the loving comments for the Thanksgiving video. And again, what I think about on Thanksgiving, especially now, is what life could have been like before colonization. And it was a sad day for me yesterday. I was really getting into my feels and would there be less cancer? Would there be less molestation, rape by our own people? It is, murder, abuse. These are real things that happen in our communities. And that's not to say there's not love and joy. And if one person tries to fucking go in these comments and talk shit about indigenous people's communities and how anything's wrong with them and you're not indigenous, I will delete your comment. But the reality is that colonization had generational effects on us. And that is what we still feel today, especially with systematic racism, with so much that we have going on with land rights, human health rights. And Thanksgiving is not a day that's celebratory to me and for my children who are Menominee and Ojibwe as well. And I don't know as much about their culture. We're not as in it because we live in Alaska. It just felt like this day I needed to really take to teach my children. And it's hard history. I don't like teaching them that. And then I have to unteach them the bullshit that they learn in school. Or, when people say Happy Thanksgiving, thank God these tattoos and the what am I trying to think of? The atmosphere right now. People did not say Happy Thanksgiving to me. Not once. No school people, when I picked up my kids. And I was very upfront with the teachers during parent-teacher conference, and I said, do I need to expect anything with Christopher Columbus' name on it or anything like that? If my kid uses the R word, I'm not going to correct them because Christopher Columbus was a rapist, and he was someone that was a horrible, atrocious human being. We can compare to Hitler. We don't teach positive things about Hitler in school, and this is my deeper dive, and I won't make this video too long. But in schools in Germany, They're taught extensively about the Holocaust, how it could have been prevented, how it came about, and then to like how we spot the insurgents of what we saw in the Holocaust. Now, if you're teaching this, it's pretty hard to continue that type of behavior, right? When it's right in your face, it's hard to deny. And then people can actually call this out, and the government is acknowledging, yes, this atrocious things. We're a good government. And if we're a good government, we can't just be abiding these types of behaviors that we know are associated with this horrible time, right? So they could regain their respect in the community and around the world. But the U.S. has never done that. We have never acknowledged that there is a genocide. We have never acknowledged the absolute horrific genocide of the people that continued for generations. I mean, it was the first generation, and that is what we're celebrating on Thanksgiving, was in Plymouth Rock for the Mashpee Wampanoag people. And I apologize if I didn't pronounce that correctly. This is a literal national day of mourning that they've been celebrating. I shouldn't say celebrating, they've been recognizing as a day of mourning since the 1970s. And this was the resurgence of the Native American movement, AIM, and other groups that came forward and said these holidays are not holidays, and they're actually whitewashed versions of atrocities that happen to our people, which make it harder for us to get our human rights, to point out systematic racism, because everyone says that we hold hands now, that we had this great pilgrim, tabling thing, when in actuality, there was a severed head of a Native American person that people ate by for over a year that started on Thanksgiving. Like, if it's too disgusting to tell your children, then why are we allowing schools, why are we allowing the nation to celebrate this day? If you don't want to talk about it and you only want to talk about it within your homes, then you should probably stop trying to say a lie and celebrate it, because it puts us in a hard position. And I have sat my kids down and I said the truth about Thanksgiving. I even had to tell them to not call it Thanksgiving. And it's awkward and it's not fun. Just like Christmas comes around and they're like, is Santa real? Well, does Santa give iPods to only the good Christian kids? It's an awkward thing that like the US has put us into, and then they get mad when we're truthful about it, and it's bullshit. So that is my roundabout ranting way of saying that yellopain's video is just what we needed. I'm super happy that I got to see it. It's my first time being introduced to this artist that I know of. I ended up just like binging on so many of their other videos. I'm following them on social media, and I hope that this can kind of squash these other fucking people's image because they're uncomfortable. Well, the video is supposed to make you uncomfortable. And it wasn't too much when European ancestors were literally murdering babies and selling their scalps. Posters wanted red skins when they were scalping children and selling those scalps to Europeans, to Western people. It wasn't too much then, but it's too much now to see it in a music video, not when it was actually happening. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Do we celebrate 9/11? Do you all get with your families? Because, let's be real, some of the people that died in our government weren't the best people in the world. Ooh, it's a touchy subject though, huh? So I'll probably just stay away from it. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it so much if we're not ready to have that conversation. Let's cancel Thanksgiving. Cancel it. And donate to your local indigenous groups on this day. Or just people. Just donate to people's cash apps. Like, we've been through a lot. We're tired. Thank you. Until next time.